Hello, crafters and artisans, and welcome back to Psychedelic Squid Fiber Arts. Today, I'm going to discuss when it's best to card versus when it's best to comb wool. I'm going to cover the benefits and drawbacks of both. When deciding to comb or card wool, there are a few things to consider. I'm going to outline them here and then cover them more in depth shortly. First is deciding woolen or worsted preparation. The next is the staple length of the wool you're working with. Then, if you're going to be blending the wool with anything. And lastly, if the fleece you're specifically working with has any issues. Now, what do I mean when I say woolen or worsted prep? Well, you prepare the wool one of two ways to achieve a desired outcome. Woolen preparation leads to a more fluffy yarn, while worsted preparation leads to a denser, somewhat stronger yarn. Since woolen prep is fluffier, it also softens the stitch definition when it's crocheted or knitted. Worsted prep has a stronger or sharper stitch definition. Woolen prep tends to be warm and hold heat better, while worsted has more luster and drape. Woolen prep is achieved by carding the wool, but you can also do worsted prep to some degree with carders. Combing wool will always give you worsted prep. When carding, the wool can be turned into rolags as it's pulled off the carders or dizzed off to make roving. Wool dizzed off the combs will give you comb top roving. The result of carding leads to the individual fibers mostly going the same direction with a bit of crisscrossing like you can see here with this purple wool. In addition, if you prep it into a rolag like I did here, you end up with even more variation in the direction of the fibers. While combing the wool ensures all the fibers are aligned in one direction, like this wool here. As for the staple length, it's the length of the individual hairs when they're relaxed. Carding is best done with fibers that are 3 inches long or shorter. Combing is best done with wool that has a staple length of 3 inches or longer. This isn't to say you have to comb or card based on the length, just which method works better for which lengths. If you're going to blend or mix your wool with something as you prepare it for use, carding is the preferred method, especially if you have different staple lengths. Combing can be used to blend, but it doesn't work as well if you're using fibers with 2 different staple lengths. Now, some fleeces have issues that can be more easily addressed either by carding or combing, but they can also exacerbate certain problems with the wool. For example, carding tends to mix second cuts into the final product. Carding also tends to work better on fibers with little vegetable matter, or VM, referring to hay, leaves, or other yard debris. Combing wool removes second cuts. It's also effective for removing heavy amounts of vegetable matter, but it produces more waste than carding. Tender fleeces, or ones weak along the length of the fiber, do better when combed. A tender fleece could be a lamb fleece, have weak tips, or just a weak point in the length. Here's an example of carding a tender fleece that has second cuts, weak tips, and a fair amount of vegetable matter. It led to neps, or those little bright spots that are basically knots, some debris getting mixed in, and overall, a very poor outcome. Here is that same tender fleece combed into roving. But also note the significant amount of waste. The waste is a collection of debris, second cuts, and broken tips. However, the roving came out fairly nicely with few neps. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below, and feel free to visit my Facebook page or Instagram to ask clarifying questions or about things I haven't covered yet. Thank you all so much for exploring the depths of your creativity with me, and I'll see you next time.